Hey guys, in the previous video I talked about the project in general, so in this one I want to tell you guys what has been implemented so far and touch a bit on the technical side of things. Since I started making videos so late, I think it's only fair that I put you guys up to speed on what has been done. After having a character in a somewhat playable state, my first priority was having a working competitive mode. For that, I had to do some programmer magic and implement friends and parties from Steam backend. At the moment those things don't look so good visually, but they work. I started working on matchmaking and let me tell you, boy was that a mountain to climb. I started by exploring what Steam had to offer. Turns out it's not so much if you want to do a modern matchmaker, so I did what every other developer does when they get stuck. I used Google. I learned about backend as service, or BAS for short. A BAS is like a server where you can store data and host game instances. Tried like one or two that seemed like the best option, and finally arrived at PlayFab. PlayFab was great, and I used it for a while, and saw it as a viable option. I went to the trouble of implementing PlayFab and using a bunch of its features. I even helped the community by providing a small blueprint implementation for the matchmaker, only to realize later that the matchmaking solution that I offered was a bit too clunky for my taste. That and they changed how the monetization of their service worked mid-development. I want to add that PlayFab has improved a lot on their matchmaking solution and made it way better. But I still decided not to pursue it because it's a paid service in the end. So at that point I thought, I can't be bothered with implementing a bunch of stuff with bad documentation again. I'm just gonna code my own solution and just deal with it. So that's what I did. I coded a small matchmaker in C# with sockets. It was actually quite a fun challenge. I also used a small open source plugin that exposes Unreal sockets to blueprints for ease of use and voila! Normal matchmaking was born. And since ranked is just a normal game with an extra step at the end, I had rank too. The way it works is by having the game servers and the players talk with the matchmaker, and then the matchmaker puts people in empty servers. It's a bit more complicated, but I'm not gonna bother you guys with code. If anyone is interested in this kind of stuff or needs help, feel free to join the Discord. I don't mind giving a hand. I'm probably making it seem way more simple than it was, but don't be fooled. Between searching for information and changing approach midway, it took months. In between changing versions, I decided that I wanted a match history. That wasn't so hard to implement. Basically the game ends and sends data of how the game went to the player. The player then stores it locally. I might change this later so that the data is stored in a server somewhere, but for now it's fine. It's not like it's gonna change anything if people change the match history data locally, so I'm not too worried. At some point that I can't remember, I also started working on a rudimentary spectator system, which is almost finished at this point. Players can use free camera, third-person camera and first-person camera of another player's perspective if they die. They can't spectate enemy players or use free camera in ranked mode though. You know, for obvious reasons. Unreal already has support for spectators, so it was easy to implement. Except the first-person perspective of another player, which I still have issues to fix. Spectator tools are important for streamers and stuff like tournaments, which I hope we can have in the future. Speaking of social stuff like tournaments, the game right now has regular text chat and voice chat. The regular text chat was implemented very early because Unreal has very nice documentation for that, and so I implemented it just after having a somewhat working character. Voice chat I implemented a few days ago. There was zero documentation, so I had to use trial and error in some parts. I can't recommend it. I also added mute buttons, if you're feeling sensitive. At some point in the middle of all this, I also implemented loot boxes. I'm planning to make the game free to play, so loot boxes are a necessary evil. Right now we have the following cosmetic options in the game. Sprays, titles, auras, which are like a particle effect around your character, and I have plans for skins. Once again, I want to thank Tomato for his help in testing everything, and to show my appreciation, he chose the first spray to be implemented in the game. And it's a tomato. Right now, the game is in a playable state, so if you want to try out the game and maybe give some feedback, join us. I will leave a Discord link in the description below. If you enjoyed the video or want to see the project grow, don't forget to like and subscribe. That's it for now. See you guys next time.